Ladies and gentlemen, today I will prove to you that Ateneo High School A is going to take this Novus Championship. 2 points of argumentation. Number 1, on how our side prevents a worse form of unemployment in our model because of the new skills that we teach generations in the long term. And secondly, just for the women and closing government, on how our model is better and is good for women, on how our jobs become more accessible to minorities that are lesser valued in society. Before that, I have 2 points of argumentation to their side. I want to focus on 2 simple questions to compress all my rebuttals for opening government. Number 1, how do we address poor individuals that are currently lacking in skills in a context of continuous development? And secondly, how do you promote better innovation and competition in our model, directly addressing the model coming from DPM? So the first one, how do we address poor individuals lacking skills in a context of continuous development and progression? And the key word I want to be able to establish here is that the context, no matter what, in both sides of this debate, will always be in continuous development and always be in continuous innovation. That the tools and the skill sets that are needed in society will always be changing. That the demand will always change regardless of whether or not you think that you're going to try and adapt. Whether or not a company decides to choose that are going to change all their technology to these types of things. The context we make sure of is that the tools will always change regardless of whatever you try and do in your society. And having established this very simply, the way we want to rebut their model is very simply, having an automated workforce always will mean that jobs for other human individuals will always be there to complement the jobs of the automated workforce. That we want to make sure that a farmer, even though he's not going to be right there in the field tilling all the soil, he's going to be there being in the operations, in managing all these different things, and in consultancy to Erie and what they currently do in Los Baños. And the programs, since I visited there last time, is to make sure that I'm going to go there and then talk to the farmers, talk to the scientists, and then give consultancy, talk about my culture, and then have this integration and cooperation with each other. That cannot happen in a model where you continuously reject all of this automated workforce, because the automated workforce that is present in this model will always push that development even further. That if I want to really question his innovation and his competition, the innovation is better in our model, because the way you want to innovate is focusing all your resources towards that research and development, like what they're doing in Los Baños. That you're focusing all the resources of your farmers and changing that so that they can use their skills and their knowledge on how you want to till a farm and being able to contribute to science and being able to help everyone in the tools that they want. This helps them in production still, because they're still going to own the land, and the ways that they're still going to earn profit from it helps them in easier ways, faster ways, especially since the cooperated thing with a private institution, which is the International Rice and Research Institute in Los Baños. So that's a good thing upon our model, which is most likely to happen. But I want to give an even if rebuttal to their side. Even if this is true, it is worse on their model that unemployment will continuously happen. Regardless, we believe that the context will always change upon their model, and I asked the simple POI to Irving. I said, are you going to be able, or which types of companies are going to be able to hire these types of workers? He didn't give us a clear answer, because he always said that, oh, some companies will stay like that anyways. That is not a guarantee that most individuals can rely on, because our society is developed upon changing in that same competition. When another company, like what happened with ABS-CBN and PLDT, PLDT was able to try and change 15,000 of their workers into the more data-focused research in their company, most of ABS-CBN's workers had to change that as well, because you knew that you had to change most of your IT analysts and then move them farther in that same idea. The way you want to have competition is the fact that you complement the competition of companies now, and that's what you can do with this automated workforce that we have under our model, which is always going to be better under our side. So this means we want the lesser evil, that they need to be able to change for the greater good of society, of being able to catch up with everyone else. It's the same thing as the analogy we gave you earlier, like how most individuals who are elderly have to be able to retire. In the same way here, if most skills are outdated, you have to be able to change, otherwise you're going to be left behind. That's where the first argument comes in, on how we prevent a worse form of unemployment in our model because of new skills we teach generations in the long run. Unemployment is worse on their model because you have skills that are outdated, and companies have a rising demand of data collection and use that whether or not you try to be able to adapt to this type of change, the workforce has to be able to catch up no matter what. Workers who are in these companies get fired and get displaced because you know that on your side, they don't have these types of skills. But to be able to teach them further in these types of places is be able to make sure that the automated workforce is present so that they will not be left behind. That if one company doesn't have this technology, then the other one will continuously have that, then most oftentimes that the ones in that lesser company will earn less, they'll get lesser wages, they'll be forced to do more work, just like in the sweatshops in China where you cannot have this form of development. So I want to make sure that if I am going to teach this in the long run, like in schools, we want to change the culture. Focus more on vocational types of skills, focus more on these types of industries, like, focusing on computer classes, focusing on the ways we want to teach our individuals on being able to adapt to the rising changes in our world. That we have to protect them as early as possible in a long-term way, so that if they are going to go out into that new world, they will not be surprised and they will not be left into an industry that will just doom them into more poverty and to doom them into somewhere where they cannot be. Compare it, it's worse on their model because even on our side, at least we try at the minimum to be able to try and complement them and to teach them and to put them in the consultancy with our cooperated programs no matter what. Second argument, and really quickly, we make jobs more accessible to minorities like these individuals, like women. And we want to be very clear in this. This is an important argument in this debate for a simple reason that we think that in that same ideal, when you wanted to be able to promote the industrial revolution upon their side, that was worse for a minority, which was women, that they are deemed to not be able to work properly, that they do not have the manual capacity to be able to try and get all these jobs and be able to adapt. That was the culture pervaded in society. That's a culture that can continue to persist even until now. So how do we try and change that culture? You get types of jobs which most individuals do not need to look at regardless of their gender, which is an automated workforce. Being able to be in these operations, being able to complement these operations, and being in those consultancies, be able to be there and give your knowledge and be valued for your knowledge and not for your gender and the sole idea that you're capable of doing that. That's why we believe that this makes jobs more accessible for more individuals and more minorities in being able to complement the unemployment that is present until now and something that is there. For all these reasons and more, we've had 14 rounds from LSIB until AIB, and this is going to end the Ateneo High School reign. We are very proud to win this championship. Thank you.
Right.